Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Alteryx Tutorials. I am Mark Thompson with Watermark Data. Today's session is going to be covering weekly challenge number 173, and it's a geospatial challenge, my favorite. What we're going to try and discover today is the distance the crow flies in the course of the Tour de France. How far from point A to point B does each racer go as far as distance from one point to the next? This isn't the road distance. We have that information. It's in one of our columns that we're given, but we want to find out as the crow flies, how far are they going? Let's go ahead and jump on into it. This is going to be a fairly easy challenge, short, there's not much going on. We're given two pieces of data. One of them is each stage of the race, and it provides an origin and a destination, and it provides some other information that we're not going to be using. And the other one gives us a Latin along for each of those locations. Now, something to bear in mind with this is how you use the information and how you get from one end to the other. As I said in this first part, we're not going to be using some of this. So understand that a lot of times you're given data that you don't necessarily need to solve the problem you're facing, to answer your question. In this, we don't need to know what type of race it was and the winner and the winner's country. Also, with a small caveat here, if the race started and ended in the same city, we're going to be counting that as a 0 miles or kilometers in this case covered. That's not to say that that was the distance covered, but as the crow flies, it's 0. So what do we want to know? We want to know the distance between start point and end point. We're also ignoring if the overnight, if it ends in one city and it starts in another. We're not concerned with that. What we're concerned with is how far have the racers gone during the day. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to take this information that gives us each of the stages, and we're going to say, hey, this stage began in this origin city. So let's go ahead and take and match that up with our Latin long for that origin, and we do that with a join. And the other thing that we want to do is, where is the Latin long for where we finish? We get the Latin long for where it started, we get the Latin long for where it finished, and then we figure out a distance between the two. So we do this with a join, and we say origin, and in this case on the right side we're saying city because it's called city down here. And we get this information out that says, hey, look at now, we've got this city, long, lat, and an origin centroid, an origin point. Now let's take and use that data and our joins and identify what was our finishing city, what was our destination. And we join it back to this same one where it's got the city, and we do the exact same join, only this time it's the destination, not the origin. With that, we now have a file that shows us the origin, the destination, and you know what? We don't need these three. So I'm actually going to come in here and say, get rid of the type, get rid of the winner, get rid of the winner country. We don't need that. Go ahead and run it. Boil it down. What are we talking about here? We're talking about, do we even need the date? We do need the stage. We want to know how many. We want to keep it individual like that. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm even going to get rid of the date and make it even simpler. And really, we've got the stage, how many miles the distance, the origin, the destination, the origin centroid, and the destination centroid. Now we're going to come up here and we're going to do a distance tool. We get that from the spatial distance. We pull that down here and we say, what's one? That's our origin centroid. And what's the second one is our destination centroid. And how do we want to do it? We want to output the distance. Okay, and we want to do the units in kilometers. Our results is down here, and you can see we've now got the distance in kilometers. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to just summarize it. How far is that? And you can see we do, I did a distance on the summary just for the fun of it. It said, you know, what's the bike distance? As well as what we were trying to find here, which is the distance in kilometers as the bird distance, as the crow flies, so to speak. That output is right there. So we have our total bike distance and we have our total bird distance. I am Mark Thompson. These have been Alteryx tutorials. Hope you find it interesting. Please hit like, please hit share, and as always, we welcome your feedback. Have a great day, everyone.